Are we going to war? That is the question on my mind today. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. We just got a little notice from the State Department saying that they're removing or plan to remove personnel from U.S. embassies in Iraq, Bahrain, and Kuwait and Iran due to security risk in the region. Okay, so why is that happening? And everybody is kind of freaking out about this. And I would just want to tell you that I do not see War III. I don't see that happening. I think there could be a flash in the pan. There could be a uptick, an uprising, a sort of a big thing that happens and then it settles down. Now, let's talk about why this could happen because I find that when you go behind the scenes, psychically, energetically, and you figure out what's causing all these people to do these things, it really makes sense and it helps, I think, have a better perspective of the situation. So we already know, right? Like, well, maybe you don't know, but it's been reported anyway that Iran, the Houthis have been bombing US Navy ships, that they've been really causing a lot of havoc in the area where we get our oil. And we all know oil is king with the United States. And then the other thing that we know is that there's really rising tensions with Israel and Iran. They have already, I think, fired on each other and have already been very testy with each other. So you add all these things together, and this is why I feel that the imposter president is making these moves. Now, there's two things that are happening behind the scenes that I think are notable and important. And one would be that, well, this made oil prices spike or at least rise. I wouldn't say they spiked yet, but they are definitely higher. And that's important, right? Because, well, we have a lot of Republicans, a lot of red states are interested in the price of oil, and it was sinking and sinking and sinking. It was actually really low until the orange imposter made this pronouncement, or his whoever it was that made this announcement. I don't know if it was Hegseth. So as soon as the announcement was made, guess what happened? Oil prices went up. So you see, hopefully you can see that this is a charade, that this is more of this manipulating the market, right? Like, oh, well, we can't do anything to make oil prices go up because Saudi Arabia and OPEC have decided to control the oil. They do control the oil prices, and they decided the oil price is going to go down. They're going to put the United States in a headlock, so to speak. So guess what? This is something that we have control over. We'll just say that there's unrest in the region and there might be a war, and all of a sudden oil is going to go up because it might be interrupted, right? Like if oil shipping or the access to oil could be interrupted through a threat or even a war-like situation, well, then the prices are going to go up. So to me, what the guides are saying is this is pump and dump. This is what he does with the stock market. This is what he does with tariffs. He manipulates everything. And this is his way of getting control of the oil price. So it's a threat, an empty threat, the guides are saying. Okay, now here's the part that is not an empty threat. So did that make sense? I'm channeling and I'm going kind of fast right now, but basically I think you got the picture, right? So the other thing to consider is Israel and Iran. Here is what I'm seeing with that. Iran is a problem. It's been a problem. It is a problem. If we attack Iran, then we got a big problem ourselves. Whatever you can say about Republicans or MAGAs, or specifically MAGAs, they don't want war. They don't want us meddling in other countries. They are very isolationist. Okay, so that's not going to fly with their people. We're not going to be able to attack them outright. But guess what? We can have another country do it for us. We can have a proxy war. And that's what I see happening to a degree, right? So Israel can say, well, I've got real problems with Iran. I'm going to start bombing them, which they already have. And now what can happen is that we can support Israel, against Iran without us being in the war. Now, that benefits us even more so because we get to now have a good reason, quote unquote, to sell Israel weapons. Who does that make happy? The defense industry. So now, in one fell swoop, you have now boosted two very important industries to the Republicans: oil and defense. In one simple statement, I'm removing the embassy staff. You have manipulated the markets by doing that. It's all about the charade, about the manipulation. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't also dangerous or that it doesn't have the potential to be dangerous, because it does. Because I think that even in a proxy war, and this has happened, right? Russia has said the same thing with Ukraine. Ukraine is basically a proxy for Europe. If Russia runs over Ukraine, well, then Poland and everybody else is next. So Ukraine is fighting for all of Europe. In a way, Ukraine is a proxy to keep Russia from doing that. So it's a different, same proxies, but different background. Okay. Obviously, Ukraine didn't ask for this. Ukraine is simply defending themselves, but it's cheaper for all of us, used to be all of us, including the United States, to support Ukraine than it is to have a whole world war. Okay, so this is where it's the same energy with Israel. It's cheaper for us to support Israel and let Israel take on Iran. And all of this is posturing, the guides are saying. I'm not saying that lives won't be lost, that there won't be bombs or explosions or whatever. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I don't see this becoming World War III, because the bottom line is that everybody likes their money. And wars make a lot of money, but proxy wars make almost as much money. So why would we go to war with somebody when we can just create havoc over here and make a lot of money? I know that is I think that is a very cynical look, but I'm channeling, and this is what they're telling me. So I don't see World War III. I see a manipulation, a continued manipulation of the markets in certain areas, depending on the desired outcome, is what the guides just said. They're hoping that this is going to open a pipeline of arms deals directly to them. And we all know the Republicans already support this, and maybe some Democrats, but I'm reading the energy, and I'm just telling you that this is a pipeline of artillery to Israel through the threats on Iran, and maybe even Iraq, and maybe even, I mean, there's a purpose for this. The purpose is not really what anybody thinks it is. That's what I'm telling you. I look behind the scenes, right? The purpose is to arm them, to make them powerful. Through Hexus or, DJT's eyes, it's about keeping a very powerful Middle East in check through this country. It's not us. It's a proxy. Okay. I'm going to move on to the No King's Day parade. And I'm going to move on to DJT's specific parade. I don't see it going well. I see it being a farce. The guides just called it. I feel like there could be mechanical issues, like the tanks break down or they crash or they fall in a sinkhole. Something that looks embarrassing. There's a sense of being embarrassed. Also, there is terrible weather. I feel like they're going to have some sun or some patch of potentially good weather, but I feel like it's surrounded by terrible weather, like terrible lightning and almost like torrential rain. And it just feels ominous. And I think that this is more karma, more spirit. DJT is not aligned. He's not aligned with what the earth is aligned with. He's not aligned with the energy. And, and this is a free will planet. This is a Wild West planet where you can do some pretty bad things and still be in alignment. So that just says a lot, right? Like that says that he's gone way out of his soul path, his soul journey, and it's all crashing down around him. I personally feel like I've gotten that just in the last week, in the last few days, there has been an energy shift. And I mean a huge, an enormous energy shift. And he's out. I feel like he is going to be out of the office by the end of the summer, maybe even as soon as July, maybe even as soon as June. But it's his time is up. It's just a matter of how he exits, whether that is through a health event or a 25th Amendment or an impeachment event. Now, before you say that everybody says this, or I don't know what you're saying, I don't know. But I would just tell you that behind the scenes, the reason this is going to happen is because behind the scenes, JD has met with the right people. This is what I'm channeling. Met with the right people, finally got some consensus. Okay, like they've hammered out a deal. The guides have just said JD has hammered out a deal with the right people, meaning the robber barons, the people who have the money, the people who tell the Republicans what to do, how to vote. We all know this, right? So a deal's been made, and JD is going to take over. And I think that that's going to happen by, like I just said, midsummer, late summer, maybe as late as the end of the year, but I don't think so. I think it's interesting. When I got that information, I was a little depressed in a way, because I have seen him being president, but I've not seen him being president for long. Like, for whatever reason, whenever I saw him become president, for whatever reason, he wasn't there long. Months, not a year, like months. I never saw how he got out of there or what happened. I just saw this is the trajectory. Okay. So when I got this new information, this big energy change, really big energy change, I went into that energy. And what made me depressed was I saw how JD was able to maneuver and make a deal with these people, and they want him in for the remainder of DJT's term. Like, that was part of the deal. Like, you have to really support me. But here's what I would say to that. And this is why I say free will. We all have free will. A couple of things. First of all, they made this little plan amongst themselves. The Mean Boys got together, made this plan. They're not taking into account that DJT has somehow got 27,000 lives. Like, I mean, how many bankruptcies he's been through? How many, close calls did he go through during the Biden administration when the judge could have put him in jail and didn't, or gave that, well, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and I'll give you another week to come up with something. He lives on borrowed time, is what the guides are saying. So, yeah, they made this deal, but I don't think they're taking into account how wily and slippery he is. So I think that there's some energy there that DJT could outmaneuver them and throw JD to the wolves by going to the base, because nobody likes JD. We don't like JD. The base doesn't like JD. Nobody likes JD. So it's just like Musk. I see Musk out, and I think they're going to go for JD. So let's just stay with this for a second, because and I do think that JD is going to win. I think they're going to remove 45 one way or another. Okay. You know what I'm saying here? And then JD gets in office, and this is where I had like a whole day of depression because I saw, him in office, and here's what I saw, and it made so much sense. They let loose the hounds. They let loose the craziness. We are now so far from anything that we've ever known. Truly, regardless whether it's a Democrat or Republican, we are so far off the map of anything we've ever known as citizens of this country. We're so far to the right. So what happens is JD gets in and he says, this is crazy. Like, I supported the president, but I don't support these particular laws or these whatever that's going on here, and I'm going to get rid of them. So I'm going to bring us back to the America we all know and love. Now, the thing about JD is he can be an orator. He can talk the BS. Now, when he says that, America rejoices. We're like, oh, thank God, sanity in the land, right? Like this guy gets it. Like he's going to cancel all this stuff that's happening with ICE and he's going to cancel all this other stuff. But he's not really bringing it all back to where we were when Biden left office. He's not bringing us back to a middle point because the middle has been drug all the way far, 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 far to Siberia to the right. So if he brings it halfway back, it's going to look like he's done amazing work. It's going to look like, man, this guy saved our butt. But only because 45 and Musk drug us so far out of bounds that when they move the goalpost back to the new normal, we're still way out of bounds. But the American people might feel so relieved to have it come within 100 miles of Biden that they're going to be like, yeah, this is it. We're tired. We're tired. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna allow this guy to do the thing. Now, when I was reading that, I was reading the energy from him and his cronies and his supporters. I didn't read the energy of us, the millions of us that are going to be out there protesting, the millions of us that have been keeping score, that have been saying, no, this isn't good enough. Like this, no, thank you. Like this is broken still. This is very broken. And so what gives me heart and hope is that you and I will all be talking to everyone saying, no, I want to remind you, right? Like, just 6 months ago, more of this and less of that. And, you had better rights. We still have to communicate. We still have to be the communicators. We have to help people understand what is happening. And we will, because this is going to be what we do. We're going to turn into a whole movement of communicators. Like, do you remember back when Move On was so good at communicating things? That's going to be us because we don't have the media anymore, for sure, but we do have social media, and we are learning how to stand up and how to speak out and how to help people understand. So this is a new era, and I don't think they can do business as usual. I don't think they can just go into their dark rooms with their mean boy club and come out and release an edict that says, believe it or not, you're a lot better than you think you are. We're helping you. We got rid of those crazy, people. This is the new America and this is the right America. No, 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 no. You don't understand. You don't get to just be, the authoritarian power. That's not going to work here. There's too many moving parts. So I don't see Vance getting a lot of good night's sleep. He's going to be under constant pressure. This is going to continue. This has to continue. Let's talk briefly about the protests that are going to be happening around the country. I do want to tell you that the energy suggests that if you push, they will push back. And the energy suggests that we're going to push. The energy suggests that we are riled up and we're ready to fight. I'm not kidding you. And I don't know if that's you. I'm talking about the consciousness of the people at the protest. The energy of the people at the protest is, we are pushed over the line. We don't care anymore. And we're going to fight you. And that's a problem because it's a very much a us and them energy. And they also feel the same way. They feel like if you come at us, we're going to fight you. So I feel like this is very contentious, and I would be very careful. If I were protesting, I would be very careful about my placement within the protest, about my exposure to harm, is what the guides just said. So, do what you need to do. Obviously, I think you should protest. I think we have to go out there and prove that we're not going to take this, and we have to prove that there's more of us than them. And I want to reiterate what I said in my last video, which is I hope that we create a group that is able to disappear and reappear someplace else, because that really our strength. 100 people, 1,000 people can disappear, can just walk off, just leave, just walk away. But we can walk 10 blocks and then reconfigure where they can't just get in their Humvees and drive 10 blocks. This is going to be a really successful tactic, the guides are saying, and it can de-escalate the situation. Because wherever there's not authority and there's a peaceful protest going on, then it's just peaceful. It's this dichotomy of us and them. There's really an energy of clashing, of violence. So please, please be careful about that. Okay. But do what you need to do. Just be very careful. I want to take a second to talk about a conflict, a conflict, because I scheduled a class on No King's Day, but it was scheduled way before No King's Day. And I just want to tell you that this class is this Saturday at 1 o'clock. If you're not going to the protest or you change your mind or whatever happens, please join us for this class. Okay. This is your soul's way forward with power and purpose. But even if you do go to the protest or you have other plans on Saturday, you can get a recording. So if you sign up for the class, you'll get a recording. You can watch this anytime. The class is 2 hours long. It's being taught with myself and my good friend Afefe with Touched by Tarot. And it is your soul's way forward with power and purpose. If there was ever a time, seriously, where you needed to know, why am I here? How do I move through this? How do I live? How do I continue to live my life with my goals, my dreams, my aspirations during a time when it just feels like everything is falling apart, when it just feels like I don't have the energy, when it just feels like I'm feeling too depressed, when it just feels like I can't, Susan, there's too much going on. I'm an empathic person and all of this energy has me sidelined. Well, I'm just here to tell you, this energy isn't going anywhere. This combative energy is not going to be over this summer. I feel like this combative energy could go on, off and on, spurts, like spasms, they're calling them, for another year and a half. We cannot put our life on hold for a year and a half. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm empathic. This stuff makes me want to crawl in a fetal position under the table. But I realize I got to continue living my life. I have to continue growing. If you're interested, check it out. Your soul's way forward with power and purpose. $37. Again, you can just get a link and watch it anytime you want, but you can find more information on my website, SusanLynnMedium.com. I'm only going to be selling this class until Saturday morning, so you can't buy it later. Okay, I don't not set up for that yet. So if you're interested in this class, please go ahead and check it out. $37 to invest in you, invest in your future, invest in your soul's power. There's not much else you can do right now. You can go to protests, you can write letters, and all those things are important as a citizen of any country or any town. But there's also, you got to bathe every day, you got to eat every day, you got to make money, you got to go to work. Those are things that you're doing in addition to all the things you're doing as a citizen. Well, I would say there's a third thing, and that is taking care of your soul, taking care of your soul's destiny, your soul's journey. Don't let these people rob you of a happy life, of a successful life. Okay. So let's continue. Let me remind you what the guides say about how we get out of this situation, and that is through community and compassion. Right now, you see this. You see that white people, hopefully like me, are out there in the streets surrounding ICE, protesting, doing the thing that our privilege allows us to do. We're not likely to be fired at or shot at or arrested or trampled or disappeared nearly as much as anybody else. So we are out there. I hope more and more of us are out there to say we're protecting these communities that are more vulnerable. That is community. How we get through this is through community. Right now on social media, everybody is sharing where they see ice. If they see ice show up in your little community, I mean, all across the country, we are helping people be safe. I'm not suggesting you do anything illegal, okay? But sharing the location, I don't think is illegal, of agents helping people be safe, knowing your rights, knowing their rights, helping people know their rights. This is part of the community. This is how we're going to get through this. It's sort of like a shortcut. The long way is completely just fighting, 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 fighting. The more we fight, the more they fight us. We have to be smarter. That's why we suggest disappearing, dipping out, and then reappearing someplace else. Be smarter than them. Also, helping people avoid situations where they could be disappeared, communicating, educating, helping people understand that. Now, another thing that just happened yesterday, I want to say, the National Guard that has been deployed, this is on video. I've seen videos of this. These soldiers, and this is so typical, right? That this is how our government works right now. They've been deployed without all the necessary arrangements. And it is being said that they don't have water, that they don't have food, or they don't have enough water or food. We certainly have seen them sleeping on the ground. This happened, if you remember, during the Cretans' last reign of terror. They were sleeping on the ground at the Capitol or whatever. This is un-American, right? Like on U.S. soil, we take care of our own. So what I want to share with you is that people are going and feeding them. People are just offering them bottles of water. People are offering them food. Now, I don't think these people are protesters. I think they're local businesses, but it's people not in uniform that are saying, hey, I recognize that you've been put in a tough situation. You might just be somebody who just joined the guard to be, to do that. You didn't know you were going to be used in this way against American citizens. And I want you to understand that I see you as a human. I see that you've been out here all day and I haven't seen you eat anything. I haven't seen you have any access to water. Here is water. Here is some food. I feel like any way we can humanize the situation, humanize them, humanize ourselves. I think this is important. I think that you could even wear a t-shirt that says, I'm a grandmother, I'm a mother, I have a son, or Army veteran, Marine veteran. Why not show them we're just like you? We go to the grocery store, right? We are humans. See me as a human. Don't see me as the enemy. I feel like these are ways that we can start to crack this facade of them against us and enemy combatants. We're not. We're all humans. And the real enemy is at 1600 Pennsylvania, is at the White House. Let's figure out who the real enemy is here. Now, having said that, I want to tell you that I am not Polly Susan. I'm not saying that all people with a uniform and authority are going to be affected by being human. Some of them have decided they're not human. It might not work with everybody, but I think if we go towards this authoritarian energy with the idea of reminding them, I'm a human, you're a human, I really think we can crack more of them than we can by going at them with fury and fight. Because if you meet these people with fury and fight, they're going to meet you back with fury and fight. And you're going to lose that war. You're going to lose that battle. They have more firepower. They have more authority. So let's be smart. Let's think about how can we change the energy here. And if you're at a protest or any any place where you feel like the energy's charged, when you feel like there's a real opportunity, a chance here for violence, please leave. I think that we have a role to play in this. If we show up and we create that energy of violence, that's on us. That there's two people in every argument. There's two people in every situation, right? So let's try to keep cooler heads. Let's try to be careful. And also the last thing I want to say is there's going to be saboteurs, provocateurs. This happens every time. We know this. We know that they show up and they create that tension, that violence, right? If you have somebody like that around you, get away from them. Get away from them because they're creating that energy, not you. Video them so we can ID them, so we can see who they are, so we can see if they're truly a provocateur, and video them so that, if something needs to happen legally, that it can happen legally. Like this guy did this. It wasn't the group. It wasn't this person you're trying to arrest. It was that guy. So we all are citizen officers right now. We all have to be able to see, to record, to witness these things, but also stay really safe. I think I'm going to end this video here because I did a whole video that didn't record because, why not? Thank you so much for watching to the end. Okay. I'll be back. I am teaching on Saturday and I have a really busy life right now because I'm still in the process of finding a rental home. So if you want to send me some good energy around that, I would appreciate it. Certainly Zoe would appreciate it. And I'll see you again really soon. If you are not aware, I do have online communities. Actually, tonight I'm doing readings on my online community. So if you want a reading from me or you like the way that I communicate and you want to have more connection to me because I'm on my online community 3 times a month, it is completely separate from Facebook, completely separate from YouTube, from everybody. It's a completely independent community. That community is $12 a month. You can join or cancel anytime you want. There's thousands of people there. Also, I have a free online community. Okay, so if you are strapped for cash, but you're like, I really want to find my people, I really want to hang out with people and be able to chat with them and share and or even lurk, even just hang out and watch other people chat and share. That's there for you. There's a free community, totally 100% free. So you can find about all of this, my class, my communities, everything on SusanLynnMedium.com. It'll be in the description below. Take really good care of yourself. This energy is no joke. This is a really hard time. We need extra care, not less care, extra care. Worrying about everybody, worrying and worrying and worrying, it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't change anything. All that's happened is you've put anxiety in your body, your physical body, and you've put anxiety in your aura and anxiety shooting out of your body. We're going to get through this. We truly are going to get through this. This is us making decisions. No, we don't want 45. No, we don't want Vance. No, we don't want a militarized police force. No, we don't want this. You don't know what you don't want until you get it. You may never know that you hate the taste of something until you taste it. You have to have the challenge, the opposition, the experience to then say, well, you know what? I never knew that I didn't like this. But you want to know what? I really don't like this. So now we can work to not experience that anymore, right? Instead of like panicking and saying we're screwed, it's all over, it is not all over. We are in the middle of changing the future. That's where we are right now. Okay, take really good care of yourself. I'll see you again really soon. For entertainment purposes only,